Chapter 3859, Swish Swish Swish. Over 1,000 rank 7 celestial gods were flying rapidly in the ocean at the edge of the endless starry sky. Suddenly, they stopped in their tracks and looked at the message on their communicators. Their eyes were shining brightly. They looked at each other, then nodded. Over 1,000 rank 7 celestial gods left. Nearly 300 rank 7 celestial gods were left floating in the air. Let's go. The 300 rank 7 celestial gods continued flying forward. You guys are finally here. A few hours later, a rank 7 celestial god smiled when he saw them flying over. However, he was taken aback when he saw them. Hey! Why are there only you guys? Where are the other rank 7 celestial gods? He asked with a puzzled look. There's been a change of plans. The 9 Origin universe has launched an attack on us. According to the Elder's decision, we'll deal with that guy from the 9 Origin universe first before dealing with the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, a rank 7 celestial god said as he flew to the front of the rank 7 celestial god. With a wave of his arm, the galaxy fragment appeared in the sky and he injected a stream of energy into it. If it's just the few of us, the chances of finding the Dragon King of Dragon Palace and killing him in this space are too slim, the rank 7 celestial god said with a frown. He had wanted to take revenge and kill the Dragon King of Dragon Palace once and for all. However, an accident had occurred. If we can kill him, we'll do it as soon as possible. Otherwise, we'll just have to wait for news, a rank 7 celestial god said. Killing the Dragon King of Dragon Palace is no longer our priority. We have to deal with those arrogant guys from the 9 Origin universe first. Moreover, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace is trapped in this region and will die sooner or later. Alright then. The rank 7 celestial god could only nod helplessly. Let's try to find him and kill him. The rank 7 celestial gods nodded. At the same time, Wang Xian had stopped searching for the rank 7 celestial god. According to Wang Xian's calculations, the celestial gods from the Faith universe should have arrived by now. Therefore, Wang Xian was not going to take the risk. He had to wait for Xiaolan and the rest to break through. As long as they broke through, everything would be fine. 1,000,000 years passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Prime Minister Turtle suddenly sent a message to Wang Xian. When he saw this message, his eyes narrowed. Faith Universe's Faith Army suddenly attacked the trade corridor. At this moment, a huge battle was taking place in the trading corridor. When he saw the news, his eyes flickered slightly. He immediately took out the communication stone plate and checked the message. The Faith Universe's army actually dared to sneak attack our trading corridor. Brothers, kill them. This group of reckless fools actually dared to launch a sneak attack on us. Last time, we killed them and forced them to flee. Now, they actually dare to come and cause trouble. Leave them here. The experts from our saint's bloodline have already rushed over. We'll definitely kill them all. This Faith universe has more than 2 million gods and believers. It's not weak. On the universe AI, it was also boiling. The trading corridor was a trading area built by the royal clan. After tens of millions of years, it had become the largest trading area in the 9 Essences universe. Countless experts and disciples gathered there. It was the most lively place. Now, the Faith universe's experts suddenly attacked. This sudden attack infuriated all the experts and disciples of the 9 Essences universe. A huge battle had broken out. Wang Xian didn't know the specifics. However, he felt that the Faith universe might not be simply seeking revenge. In terms of true strength, the 9 Essences universe should be slightly weaker than the Faith universe. I wonder what the Faith universe is trying to do, Wang Xian murmured, his eyes shining brightly. As he was trapped here, he could only read all kinds of news through the communication stone plate. A day later, he learned from the communication stone plate that the experts of the peak races of the 9 Essences universe had arrived and engaged in a huge battle with the Faith universe's army. However, during the battle, another army of 10 million emerged from the Faith universe. The terrifying army of 10 million gods and believers from the Faith universe caused the experts of the 9 Essences universe to suffer heavy losses. A large number of experts and disciples were killed. The entire trading corridor was destroyed. The peak races immediately began to gather their strength and prepare for a counterattack. The real battle was about to break out. Over the next few days, there was news about the battle. All kinds of battlefields. The main battlefield in the center. 7th Order sovereigns against the 7th Order gods. The trump card of the peak races against the faith universe. Wang Xian watched from the communication stone plate every day. The great battle continued. In this battle lasted for a few years. However, as time passed, as more and more powerful armies of faith appeared, the 9 Essences universe began to retreat. Why are there so many experts from the faith universe? We are being attacked in many places. We can't send reinforcements in time. It's not that we can't send reinforcements in time. It's just that the other side is too strong. On the main battlefield, our peak races aren't a match for the God Legion. We're already retreating. This is bad. The Sorcerer race, Devil race, and several other peak races have lost many 7th Order sovereigns. Even the Lord of the Sorcerer race who transferred the Astral Beast bloodline was killed by the Faith Universe's god. Hiss, the Faith Universe is too strong. We are no match for them. Many of our disciples from the 9 Essences universe have become their believers. Now that their believers have infiltrated our territory, they know everything about us. On the other hand, we don't know anything about the other side. All the experts and disciples of the royal family guarding the trading corridor have been killed. The faith universe is too strong. Our area of activity has been reduced to a terrifying extent. On the AI, the experts and disciples from the 9 Essences universe were posting all kinds of information. Indeed, the faith universe is stronger. At least they have more experts and disciples. Wang Xian muttered to himself as he looked at the daily updates on the communication stone plate. Buzz buzz. Dragon King, the peak races have invited us for another meeting. It should be to discuss the war with the faith universe. Wang Xian raised his brows when he received Prime Minister Turtle's message. Another meeting? Prime Minister Turtle, go take a look. Wang Xian replied. Chapter 3860, Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The experts of the various peak races flew over from the 9 Origins universe's passageway. The Turtle Prime Minister also flew over, sweeping his gaze across the surroundings. The experts of the various peak races were already in their positions. In fact, they had been here for a period of time. The experts of the various peak races had ugly expressions on their faces. Looking at the current situation, what do you think we should do? The shaman ancestor from the sorcerer race was the first to speak. His gaze swept across the various peak races as he spoke. The strength of the faith cosmos has completely exceeded our expectations. Against the disciples of experts below the 8th Order sovereign realm, we are not their match. A grand elf from the fairy race said bluntly. The other experts of the various peak races frowned deeply. They had not expected the faith cosmos attack to be so ferocious. They had not expected them to have such a terrifying army. According to the information we received, the faith cosmos currently occupies 2 cosmoses. Moreover, they have already opened up a path between the 2 cosmoses. They have 24 palaces, and each palace is equivalent to a peak race like us. An expert from the devil race said. Right now, we can only avoid the brunt of their attacks. They will not be able to seal off our location, and they will not be able to keep their entire army together. Therefore, we can use guerrilla warfare. Every peak race will form a hunting squad and carry out sneak attacks on the faith cosmos, an expert from the celestial nation said. However, we have to be careful. The faith cosmos can force the disciples of our 9 Origins universe to believe in them. We must pay attention to this point. A skeleton king from the skeleton race said. The other peak races nodded in agreement. No matter what, we cannot give up on the starry cosmos so easily. Let's see if we can try to contact those giant space beasts. If we can reach an agreement with them, everything will be much easier. A fire phoenix from the phoenix race said. Them. Hun Dun, Fei Lian, Ba Xia, Swan Ni, and Shu Hao. Those terrifying existences probably won't agree to it. However, some of the giant space beasts below might be possible. Does your phoenix race know of other giant space beasts? See if you can contact them. The angel race looked at the phoenix race and said, "Let's give it a try. However, we might not succeed. We have contacted them in the past." A fire phoenix said, "Tell them that we are willing to pay." The angel race's Radiance Angel King said. The Phoenix clan nodded. "The Faith Universe's army has already entered our territory. We're more familiar with this part of the starry sky. We'll carry out an ambush here. Also, we need a base of operations." The great elf of the elf race said to them, "Can we go to the base of the sorcerer tribe? The base of the sorcerer tribe is the strongest." An expert from the sage's lineage looked at the ancestor of the sorcerer tribe. "Sure." The grand wizard nodded. In terms of defense, the sorcerer tribe was an invincible existence among the top races. Currently, none of the top clans could break through the defense of the wizard tribe. Legend had it that the combined power of the 12 ancestors of sorcery was comparable to that of the heavenly primordial fortune. The shaman tribe was also known to all the peak-level races. They were a terrifying existence that had survived several eons, even though they did not have the fortune of heaven's origin. The wizard race's array formation was the best in the universe. In the starry sky universe, if one wanted to break through the base of the sorcerer tribe, they would need to be at least 4 to 5 times stronger than the sorcerer tribe. If the sorcerer tribe wanted to defend a place, they would have to send out 7 or 8 times more power to destroy it. This was the power of the sorcerer tribe. In this war, the sorcerer tribe seemed to be the leader. "I have a suggestion. Let's gather all the powers of the top races to build a camp and build a strong defensive base." The black tortoise race, who rarely spoke, suddenly suggested. "Ha!" The top races raised their eyebrows slightly when they heard this. "This might not be a bad idea. This is a good idea. Every top race can bring out powerful treasures to strengthen this giant city. However, this giant city must first withstand the attacks of the Faith Universe." The experts of the Elf clan nodded in agreement. The rest of the top races also expressed their agreement. "Since we're going to build it, it'll be equivalent to a huge trading center and a safe place. Every top race has to bring out powerful treasures. Otherwise, it'll be useless." The ancestor of the sorcerer swept his gaze across them and said plainly, "That's for sure. The black tortoise race can bring out 10 pinnacle sovereign realm turtle shells to defend the bottom. We can also bring out mystic soil to build the city walls." The experts from the black tortoise race said, "If we really want to build it, the elf race can bring out 4 saplings of the ancient war. If the ancient war tree is cultivated with the blood of the cosmic beasts of the starry universe, it won't be suppressed by the universe. However, this cultivation needs to be done together. Everyone should understand the importance of the ancient war tree of the elf race." The leader of the great elf race said, "One feather of the Emperor of Angels from the angel race to guard the sky." From the angel race, the Radiant Angel King held onto the universe AI and sent out a message. After a few seconds, he said this: "Build a giant city together." At the same time, Prime Minister Turtle sent the news over. Wang Xian's eyes lit up when he saw this message. It was indeed much more convenient for the top races to build a giant city. The value of each top race's items would also determine their status here in the future. The Dragon Palace still had to participate in such matters. After all, this was the first time all the top races in the Nine-Source universe were working together. There was no harm in working together for the Dragon Palace. What can the Dragon Palace bring out? What do you have that you can take out? Wang Xian frowned slightly. Then, he smiled and said, "There is one useful thing. Apart from the powerful fruits on the progenitor tree, the Dragon Palace didn't have any other treasures that it could offer. Over the past tens of millions of years, the fruits of the progenitor tree had reached a huge number. For example, the soul-returning fruit had accumulated hundreds of thousands of them. This was definitely a treasure of the Dragon Palace. However, they could not bring it out. Apart from these, there was only one other option, the Cursed Dragon. If the Cursed Dragon was used to deal with the experts of the Nine-Source universe, it might be a little difficult. The experts of the Nine-Source universe would not be foolish enough to attack the Cursed Dragon. However, the Cursed Dragon could be used for defense and was a powerful killing weapon. In particular, the cursed dragon that had died the last time had been resurrected and had fully recovered. The other top races would not reject such a treasure. After all, tens of thousands of cursed dragons could kill thousands of Tier 7 gods without a problem. Chapter 3861. Having made up his mind, Wang Xian sent the message to Prime Minister Turtle. At the location of the world passage of the Nine Origins universe, the pinnacle races were calling out the treasures they wanted to offer. These treasures were not called out casually. Since they were working together to build this giant city, it would be best if the treasures they offered were equal. Even if they couldn't, they had to offer some resources to make up for it. After all, this giant city was of great significance to all the pinnacle races. Defense and attack. This was the foundation of the entire giant city. What they had to do was to build this foundation. As for the buildings inside, it was too easy for the experts to build them. The area of this giant city and how much each pinnacle race could occupy had to be divided. Our Dragon Palace doesn't have any treasures that we can offer, but we do have a defensive treasure that you don't have. 25,000 cursed dragons, each of which is at the pinnacle of the supremacy realm. Their combat strength is only at the 7th order venerable realm. 200 cursed dragons can curse a 7th order sovereign realm giant star beast to death. For the gods of the universe, 4 to 500 can curse a 7th order sovereign realm giant star beast to death. If these 25,000 cursed dragons burst out at the same time, it shouldn't be a problem to curse a pinnacle sovereign realm giant star beast to death. Prime Minister Turtle looked at the pinnacle races and said, "Huh? Cursed dragons?" His words caught the attention of the pinnacle races. A cursed creature? It's indeed terrifying to use it for defense and surprise attack. The sorcerer ancestor nodded slightly. The sorcerer race had studied cursed creatures before, and they knew how powerful they were. In fact, they had even secretly nurtured such creatures. 25,000 cursed dragons could indeed curse a pinnacle sovereign realm giant star beast to death. The defensive effect was no weaker than the sorcerer race's array. In fact, it was stronger to a certain extent. Of course, the effects of the array and the cursed dragons were different. Cursed dragon, aren't you a disciple of your Dragon Palace? You can transfer them away whenever you want. The King of Radiant Angels said indifferently, raising an eyebrow. That's easy. We can give the cursed dragon a powerful mecha. Then, it can control the mecha. We can decide the control of the mecha when the time comes. Prime Minister Turtle replied. Yes, 25,000 of these cursed creatures are extremely terrifying. If we can use them well, it will be extremely useful. The expert from the Nether clan nodded. The rest of the Peak clans agreed with the treasures taken out by the Dragon Palace. This could be considered a powerful trump card for the giant city in the future. If an 8th or 9th order sovereign realm giant beast appeared, it would be enough to intimidate them. The matter of Mega City is settled. I have another suggestion for the Conviction universe. Our 13 Apex races should form a combat team. Every race has their own specialties. If we form a combat team, we'll have a better chance of resisting the Conviction universe's army, Nai Yang said with a nod of his head. The Great Elf of the Elf clan suddenly said, "This is indeed a good choice. Then we might as well form more combat squads." The group of pinnacle races nodded their heads slightly. Now that the Nine Essences universe had been forced into such dire straits, they knew that it was time to unite. That was because the Nine Essences universe was starting to lose ground. Alright, let's pick out the peak combat strength of each race and form more combat squads. The sorcerer tribe ancestor nodded. Prime Minister Turtle overheard their conversation and passed the news to Wang Xian. Wang Xian raised his brows slightly when he received the news. He pondered for a moment and decided not to let the Dragon Palace participate. The Dragon Palace still lacked the combat strength of 8th or 9th order sovereigns. Hence, they couldn't participate. Our Dragon Palace is too weak. We won't participate, Prime Minister Turtle said after receiving the news. Huh? The Dragon Palace won't participate? This is different from the previous time. Our Nine Essences universe has been forced into such a state by the Conviction universe. Why won't the Dragon Palace participate? That's a little unreasonable. A water phoenix from the Phoenix clan said after hearing Prime Minister Turtle's words. Our dragon palace is still too weak. Even if we join this team, we won't be of much use. Prime Minister Turtle said. This is a critical juncture. The water phoenix sneered coldly. When our Dragon King returns, we will naturally participate. As of now, our dragon palace is still too weak. Prime Minister Turtle shook his head and insisted. We can't force the dragon palace to participate. The sorcerer tribe ancestor sorcerer said. The other pinnacle races didn't have anything to say. They knew what the dragon palace was thinking and knew that there was still a gap between them and the dragon palace. Some pinnacle races didn't care too much. However, the Phoenix clan and the Angel clan still had some opinions. But even if they had opinions, they couldn't force the dragon palace to do anything. Especially when it came to this matter. Prime Minister Turtle bade farewell again and passed on the reactions of the pinnacle races to Wang Xian. Wang Xian was very satisfied when he saw it. He could imagine that the Phoenix clan and the Angel clan would have opinions about the Dragon Palace. It was fine as long as the other pinnacle races didn't have any opinions. Wang Xian was very satisfied with the reactions of the pinnacle races on this point. The Nine Essences universe had started to build a giant starry sky city. The location of the construction was at the World Passage. When the 13 pinnacle races worked together to build the entire starry sky city, the speed would be terrifying. The entire city could be moved. There was a feather of a heavenly yuan creation realm existence and the strongest array that a level 7 sorcerer of the sorcerer tribe could control. There was the turtle shell of a black tortoise, which was said to have the strongest defense. There was the sapling of the ancient war tree of the elf clan. There was the treasure of the divine tiger clan, the gate of tiger. There was the writing of the heavenly yuan creation realm existence and the heavenly yuan sage. There was the inextinguishable skeleton fire of the skeleton clan. There was the divine shadow of the celestial nation. There was the cursed dragon of the dragon palace. Every pinnacle race brought out their stronger treasures to build this starry sky city. This starry sky city was also to help the Nine Essences universe gain a foothold in the starry sky universe. It was also to have a supply station, a giant city that could defend against the armies of the Faith universe. Such terrifying treasures were built by the 13 pinnacle races. Even if a heavenly yuan star beast attacked, it would be able to defend against it. With the existence of the cursed dragon, it could even be destroyed. Chapter 3862. The construction speed of the giant star city was extremely fast. The surface area of the giant star city was comparable to 10 stars. Such a surface area was not very big for the entire Nine Origins universe. In the future, when entering the city, the divine tiger race, black tortoise race, divine dragon race, and so on would have to enter in human form. 10 stars might seem huge, but one had to know that this giant star city was a place where the 13 peak races would allow the disciples of other high-ranking races to enter. This was also a kind of benefit for the disciples of the high-ranking races. The giant star city was built in secret, and it took dozens of years. This speed could be said to be extremely fast. The main reason was that the giant star city was built at the World Passage. 8th and 9th order sovereigns of the witch race went there to set up a formation. Of course, the formation they set up could only be controlled by 7th order sovereigns. They could set up a 9th order sovereigns formation, but it was useless if it could not be activated. Comparatively speaking, the formation set up by 9th order sovereigns was much stronger than the formation set up by 7th order sovereigns. Just the formation's power could contend against 3 or 4 9th order sovereigns. In addition to the power of other treasures, this giant star city was terrifying. After the giant star city was completed, it immediately flew towards the starry sky universe. At the same time, the news spread to every expert and disciple in the Nine Origins universe. When they received the news, their faces were filled with shock. Damn, it can't be. A giant starry sky city built by 13 peak races. This. We can enter and exit at will. Isn't this too majestic and powerful? Was this giant star city built to deal with the Faith universe? Ha ha ha, this is great. In the future, We will be 100% safe when we enter the giant star city. This is a giant star city built by the 13 peak races. The giant star city is secondary. This time, the 12 peak races have formed a powerful battle team to deal with the Faith universe. For the first time, our Starry Sky universe won against the Faith universe. Although we failed last time, this time, our counterattack has begun. We will definitely succeed. That's right. Why didn't the Dragon Palace participate? I don't know. Maybe the Dragon Palace is still a little weak. In terms of top-tier combat power, there is still a huge gap. On the communication stone plate, countless powerhouses and disciples were discussing excitedly. Not too long ago, the Nine Essences universe had suffered a crushing defeat. The treasured lands belonging to the disciples of the Nine Essences universe were also under attack by the experts from the other universes. Many experts from the Nine Essences universe had died. Although it could be said that the experts and disciples of the high-level races suffered fewer attacks, they were still frightened. Now that they had this Starry Sky city, they also had a safe place to rest. Moreover, the experts of the peak races of the Nine Essences universe had already begun their counterattack. Not long after, a large number of experts and disciples entered the Starry Sky giant city. When they entered the giant city, their faces were filled with shock. Now that the disciples of the Nine Essences universe had found a safe place to hide, the 12 peak-level races began their counterattack. The 12 pinnacle races joined hands and formed a total of 5 teams to hunt down the army of the Faith universe. There were over a dozen legions in the Conviction universe, so it was impossible for all of them to gather together. In the beginning, the 5 battle teams managed to achieve some results. However, the effect wasn't that great. After all, the experts dispatched by the Faith universe this time were too terrifying. The peak races of the Nine Essences universe also understood that the strength of the Faith universe was too terrifying. Therefore, all they had to do was to drag it out. The dozen legions of the Faith universe were purely a waste of time to drag it out. If they withdrew a portion of their legions, the Nine Essences universe could also launch a counterattack. The Faith universe also understood this problem. After learning that the Nine Essences universe had built a giant city, they wanted to attack it. However, they weren't 100% confident. Therefore, they didn't take action for now. The war was once again in a stalemate. The 5 battle teams of the Nine Essences universe fought a guerrilla war against the army of the Faith universe. Although the Faith universe was strong, they didn't dare to attack the Nine Essences universe's giant Starry Sky city. After all, if the Nine Essences universe took out a treasure like the Heaven Yuan fortune fragment, the Faith universe might also suffer heavy losses. Time passed quickly in this stalemate. Wang Xian was in that area. Along the way, he sensed a large number of messages from the experts of the Faith universe and immediately left. He hadn't been found. More than 10 million years passed quickly. On this day, Wang Xian finally received good news. When he received this news, he couldn't help but smile. Xiao Lan had broken through. Xiao Lan had broken through. With the power of reverse nurturing, Lan Qingyu had broken through. 7th Order Universe Sovereign Realm. Although Xiao Zhai and Xiao Bai hadn't broken through, Xiao Lan's breakthrough was enough. I've finally broken through. After breaking through, I can have a good fight with the gods of the Faith universe. I might even be able to wipe them all out. Wang Xian's eyes were beaming with excitement. The power of the stellar domain fragment was at most comparable to a pinnacle sovereign realm expert. Now that Xiao Lan and Lan Qingyu had broken through, the power of 2 pinnacle sovereigns was enough to defeat them and even wipe them out. Wang Xian immediately contacted Enlai and ordered him to bring Lan Qingyu and the rest over. Wang. A few minutes later, Xiao Lan and Lan Qingyu appeared beside Wang Xian. Xiao Xian. Lan Qingyu looked at Wang Xian and revealed a smile. Wang Xian smiled at her and nodded his head. Let's find the gods of the Starry Sky universe first. Once we find them, we will wipe them out completely. All right. Lan Qingyu nodded her head. With Xiao Lan's strength, it's enough to deal with the stellar domain fragment. I can also easily kill the rest of the gods. If Xiao Lan and I join forces, we can defeat them. All right, that's enough. Wang Xian nodded his head. After getting Xiao Lan and the rest to hide, Wang Xian released his dragon power and flew forward. If he were to search around recklessly, it wouldn't be long before he encountered the gods of the Faith Universe. While Xiao Lan had broken through and Wang Xian was preparing to strike at the gods of the Faith Universe, the armies in the Faith Universe and the Starry Sky Universe were also carrying out a plan. The Faith Universe was preparing to launch another all-out attack on the Nine-Source Universe. Chapter 3863, of the 5 fleas in the Nine Essences Universe, we've already locked onto the positions of 2 of them. Let's use all of our power to wipe them out. That won't be a problem. In addition to killing them, we'll launch an all-out attack. Even if we can't destroy the Nine Essences Universe's Starry Sky City, we'll still be able to see what they have up their sleeves. Yes, the Elders ordered us to launch an all-out attack. That attack will determine what happens next. We can't just keep wasting time with the Nine Essences cosmos. All of our experts are here, so there's no point in wasting time. More than 10 million years passed. Over the past 10 million years, they had been completely tied down by the 5 legions of the Nine Essences Universe, and had never dared to split up. Although their combined strength was great, they were also a bigger target. When the disciples of the Nine Essences Universe hid themselves, they would only be able to kill a few dozen of them. It was impossible to encounter a large number of disciples from the Nine Essences Universe. However, once their forces were scattered, there was a possibility that they would be attacked. Over the past 10 million years, although they hadn't suffered any losses, they had spent all their time here. Over the past 10 million years, they had been able to recruit believers from the Nine Essences Universe, and had acquired some information that allowed them to lock onto 2 of the Nine Essences Universe's 5 battle squads. In addition, they were prepared to launch a general attack on the giant star beast after destroying these 2 teams. An all-out attack on the Starry Sky City. If they could break through, it would be a great victory for them. Even if he couldn't succeed, he could at least test the strength of the Nine Essences Universe before making further plans. Get ready, faith tracking. Within the starry sky of the Starry Sky Cosmos, the million armies of the 8 faith cosmoses were gathered together. Leading them were the 8 faith core trump cards. There were also 6th order sovereign realm space beasts. There were many powerful battle treasures. 8 faith legions, nearly 1,000 tier 7 gods, and nearly 10 million gods and believers. Their strength was extremely terrifying. The 8 core commanders gathered together, and the 8 core commanders looked at each other. Faith tracking. One of the rank 7 gods ordered. With a wave of his hand, an item floated in the air. Buzz buzz buzz. This item was a portrait of an angel clan powerhouse that they had obtained. The Faith Universe's faith tracking required some conditions to follow. For example, the tracker's real name, some information about the tracker, and the tracker's items. For example, the portrait of the tracker. For example, the tracker's karma. The more he obtained, the easier it would be to track them. It would be even easier if he could obtain the items of the target. Over the past tens of millions of years, they had managed to obtain a portrait of an expert from one of the Nine Essences Cosmos battle squads. Through the portrait, he could use faith tracking. Streams of faith power condensed in the sky, and countless shadows of believers appeared. They prayed and tracked. Tracking faith was a very troublesome and huge project. If they wanted to chase after a 7th order sovereign realm expert, they would need to mobilize at least 5 to 6 armies. Just like tracking Wang Xian, only 10 armies with a large number of believers and experts could perform the faith tracking art. This Nine Essences universe is far more powerful than we imagined. I had assumed that we would be able to easily wipe it out. A rank 7 god couldn't help but sigh. After all, the Nine Essences cosmos is one of the top existences among all the other cosmoses. It won't be easy to defeat them, another rank 7 god said. That's true. The Faith Universe is considered one of the stronger universes. The rank 7 god nodded. Between the universes, there was also a hierarchy. This classification was based on the strength of the experts in the universe. The Nine Essences universe was not weak among all the other universes. Buzz. At this time, the massive faith power in the sky condensed into a scissor and pointed in a certain direction. We've locked onto them. Now, We need to focus on how to surround them. Otherwise, it will be hard for us to catch up if they escape. One of the rank 7 gods said. We have a sealed treasure here. Next, we might have to rely on the Nether Heaven Palace. The rank 7 god looked at the army of one of the palaces. One of the 24 palaces, the Nether Heaven Palace. That won't be a problem. Our Netherworld Heavenly Palace's Netherworld resonance is more than enough to keep them in place. The 9 Stars Palace's side is dealing with another team. We can't let this team from the 9 Essences universe escape. The rank 7 god leading the Nether Heaven Palace nodded. All right. The group of gods nodded, and a smile appeared on their faces. Let's go, chase them. The armies of the 8 palaces immediately moved out, carrying with them an invincible aura. Their speed was very fast, and with the guidance of faith tracking, they were very close to their target in 2 years. The target is very close to us. Let's go. The gods of the 8 palaces immediately sped up and flew forward. Chem. At the same time, not far away, a group of over 500 experts floated in the starry sky. These 500+ experts came from the 12 top clans. The Black Tortoise race specialized in defense, the Fairy race specialized in long-range attacks, the Nether race specialized in assassination, the powerful skeleton experts, and so on. When they worked together, their power was doubled compared to the experts of a single race. This was also the reason why they could cause so much trouble for the Faith universe in the past 10 million years. Over 500 experts, the weakest was at the 6th Order Sovereign realm. Among them, there were 157th Order Sovereigns. After all, this was the combined strength of 12 peak races. But right at this time, the 7th Order Sovereign realm expert of the Magus race suddenly felt fear, and he looked in a certain direction. Not good, there's a huge amount of faith energy rushing in our direction. This is a huge army of the Faith universe. We have to escape immediately. The 7th Order Sovereign realm expert took out a compass, and when he saw the information on it, his expression changed greatly, and he immediately shouted, "Run!" The group of 9 Essences universe experts did not hesitate, and they immediately fled into the distance. Buzz. Vast faith, believers of the gods, eternal life. Vast faith, believers of the gods, eternal life. Vast faith, believers of the gods, eternal life. Right at this moment, an extremely terrifying sound wave energy attacked them. This vast voice instantly enveloped them. Vast faith, believers of the gods, eternal life. When this voice entered their ears, it was as if they heard countless words of advice pouring into their minds. Chapter 3864, The Power of Faith is Vast. Those who believe in the gods will gain eternal life. The power of faith is vast. Those who believe in the gods will gain eternal life. The voices of faith were transmitted into the minds of the experts and disciples of the 12 pinnacle clans. The vast voice caused their bodies to stiffen. Their eyes were blank, and their faces were filled with astonishment. They looked like they were struggling. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The Devil Clan expert's wings emitted a pitch-black radiance that slowly enveloped him. Run. Breaking free from this comfortable feeling, he hurriedly shouted loudly, "Boom, boom, 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 boom." However, just as he finished his sentence, waves of terrifying aura surged towards them. This terrifying pressure made all of them hold their breaths. Oh no, 8 legions. It's the 8 legions of the universe of faith. The expression of the Devil Clan powerhouse changed dramatically when he saw this scene. He spread his devil's wings and immediately fled into the distance. At this moment, he could no longer care about the others. Buzz. At this moment, a few experts from the Underworld clan and the Sorcerer clan regained their senses. Seeing the incoming army of faith, their faces were filled with despair. Swish, 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 swish. Waves of terrifying energy were already suppressing them. We can't escape. A rank 7 Underworld expert's heart trembled violently when he saw this. Boom. The energy swept towards them. The rest of the experts reacted, but it was too late. It's over. We can't escape. How did they know where we were? How did they lock onto us? 8 legions. We can't escape. Over 500 experts from the universe of faith recovered, and their hearts sank. This was a dead end. Over 500 experts from the 12 pinnacle clans were facing the 8 legions, millions of deities and believers. At such a close distance, they could no longer resist. The terrifying power of faith drowned them all in an instant. Their lives vanished in an instant. Only a rank 7 demon clan powerhouse managed to escape due to the fact that he possessed a treasure. The rest were all dead. Only those with treasures could be resurrected. He actually let one escape. It doesn't matter that one escaped. Our harvest this time is not bad. Not bad indeed. At this moment, the gods of the 8 armies flew over, the corners of their mouths slightly raised. In the 9 Essences universe, there were 5 battalions made up of the 12 peak-level races. None of the battalions were weak, but they weren't very strong either. At most, if all of his trump cards were used, he would be able to fight against an army of the Faith universe. However, in the face of the 8 legions, it was still not enough. They could be easily killed in seconds. Buzz buzz. On the other side, they also annihilated that team. At this time, one of the Tier 7 gods in the center suddenly took out his communicator and glanced at it. Then, the corners of his lips curled up into a smile. Oh, that's not bad. Next, we should prepare to attack the 9 Essences universe's starry sky city. Let's see what they're capable of. Let's go, let's rendezvous with the other legions. The stage 7 gods of the 8 palaces spoke as they flew off with smiles on their faces, converging with the other 12 armies. The news of the deaths of over 1,000 experts from the 2 battalions immediately spread to the 12 peak-level races. When the experts of the various races received the news, their faces instantly turned ugly. Each of the 12 peak-level races had about 50 experts. The 6th Order and 7th Order sovereigns were already considered the high-level combat strength of each of the peak races, but now, over 100 of them had died in a short period of time. In addition, they also had trump cards in their hands. One had to know that the 5 battalions made up of the 12 peak-level races were all top-notch existences of the same level. They all had some powerful treasures in their hands. Now, all of them were dead. This was a huge loss. Even the Angel race and Phoenix race had not suffered such heavy losses when they fought with Wang Xian in the past. Let the other 3 battalions return to the Starry Sky City first. Don't make any moves for now. Also, let them keep an eye on the situation in the Starry Sky City. The Witch tribe's ancestor frowned and said. The rest of the peak races nodded in agreement. Phoenix race, have you guys contacted the giant beasts in the depths of the Starry Sky universe? The Radiant Angel King asked the Aqua Phoenix King of the Phoenix race. We've already sent experts over, but we're not sure yet. The Aqua Phoenix King replied. The Faith universe is still too strong. We're not their match in a battle of our level. The Great Elf of the Fairy race frowned slightly and said. Let's wait and see. With the Starry Sky City around, we don't have to worry too much. Let's just drag it out with them slowly. Several experts from the peak races spoke up with their brows tightly knitted. It was unknown which expert from one of the peak races had suddenly leaked the news of 2 battalions being wiped out by the Faith Universe's army. This news caused a huge commotion in the Faith Universe. What's going on? 2 of the armies formed by the 12 peak-level races were wiped out. How is this possible? Is the Faith Universe's army of faith so strong? We don't seem to be a match for the gods of the Faith Universe. Damn it, how can they be so strong? I heard that one of the battalions had more than 500 top-notch experts, but all of them were wiped out. This is too terrifying. You should know that this was the combined strength of the 12 peak-level races of the 9 Origins universe. Countless experts and disciples in the communication stone plate were discussing this. All the experts and disciples who saw this news were shocked. The other peak races didn't refute the news when they saw it being transmitted to the communication stone plate and the huge commotion it caused. The fairy race even sent a message, if you're weak and backward, you'll get beaten up. Work hard on your cultivation. This was the tacit agreement of the peak races. This message from the fairy race once again caused a huge commotion. Countless experts and disciples started discussing this. Soon, They started shouting that they would fight their way to the Faith universe and wipe them out. Hee hee. Wipe us out? With just your puny Nine Origins universe? The gods of the various palaces all had some believers in the Nine Origins universe. When they received the message from the communication stone plate of the Nine Origins universe, a cold smile appeared on their faces. We'll launch our attack in a month, the gods of the Faith universe said coldly. Chapter 3865. The Faith universe's attack on the Nine Origins universe's army caused a huge commotion. The experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe did not dare to stay outside any longer. They all returned to the Giant Star City. The Giant Star City was the safest place in the entire Nine Origins universe. Hiss, this is. What are they doing? They are heading in the direction of our Giant Star City. Time passed, and 20 days passed in the blink of an eye. However, on this day, in another part of the universe, a few experts from the Nine Essences universe suddenly noticed a terrifying army flying towards them from their right. A sixth-order sovereign realm giant star beast was opening the way. A large number of experts stood on top of it. There was a huge faith diagram with words of faith swirling around it. There was also a large number of experts standing on top of it. There was also an arched faith bridge that contained boundless might. There was also a large number of experts standing on top of it. There were also all kinds of treasures that looked extremely powerful from afar. When the few experts sensed this, their eyes narrowed. They exchanged glances with each other, their eyes filled with shock. What's going on? Are they going to attack our Giant Star City? That's possible. Quick, let's inform the experts in our race. Several experts immediately passed the news over. It was suspected that the Faith Universe's army of tens of millions was going to attack the Giant Star City. The news was quickly passed on. Let's see how strong the Faith Universe is. We have so many terrifying defenses and the 25,000 Dragon Palace Curse Dragons. It shouldn't be a problem. They want to test our strength, but we also want to see their strength. Let's prepare the disciples of the Giant Star City. A group of peak experts from the various races of the Nine Origins universe said calmly near the World Passage. The Giant Star City was built by the 12 peak races of the Nine Origins universe. The power they could resist was extremely terrifying. Just the 25,000 dragon-cursed dragons were enough to make the Faith universe suffer. However, they could not send the dragon-cursed dragons to their deaths right from the start. This was something that the peak races understood. Following that, a notice was sent out in the Giant Star City. Notice: the Faith universe will arrive at the Giant Star City within 10 days. All experts and disciples, please stay in the city and do not go out for the next few days. The Faith universe's army actually wants to attack our space city. The strength of the Faith universe is terrifying. They have over 20 legions. Can our Starry Sky City defend against them? It shouldn't be a problem. Can't you see that the experts and disciples of the peak races in the Starry Sky City aren't worried at all? This is a gigantic Starry Sky City built by 13 apex races. There are many treasures in the city. Even if the Faith universe's army is very strong, they won't be able to break through. When the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences Cosmos saw this news, they began to discuss it. The powerhouses of the peak races also received an order to defend the city. In fact, they didn't need to do much to defend the city. Just the large number of formations and defensive treasures were already terrifying enough. At that time, he only needed to control it. However, there was still a need for some experts from the 13 peak races to go over and take a stand. When Prime Minister Turtle received the news, he also brought a group of mystic dragons over personally. This time, Faith Universe's attack required the experts of all the peak races to be present. At the same time, at the entrance of the Nine Essences Cosmos, the Aqua Phoenix King of the Phoenix race smiled when she saw the news on the communication stone plate. Our Phoenix race has already established contact with a race of giant space beasts. If we can provide them with sufficient resources, they will be willing to fight for us. The Aqua Phoenix King looked at the experts of the peak races and said, "Oh, how strong is that race of giant space beasts?" The eyes of the experts of the peak races lit up, and a look of excitement appeared on their faces. In the past, there was a group of giant space beasts living in their nine essences cosmos, and their numbers weren't small. They had gained intelligence in the nine essences cosmos, and being able to establish contact with them was definitely good news for the nine essences cosmos. This race has 5 to 6 seventh-order sovereigns. This strength is more than enough. The Aqua Phoenix King smiled. Enough, it's indeed enough. Then, let's contact them. We will show our sincerity. The witch race's ancestor immediately said, it's best if we can cooperate with them to explore the universe. Sure, I'll get my subordinates to communicate with them. The Aqua Phoenix King nodded. This shouldn't be a problem. The experts of the peak races nodded, and their eyes lit up. Auntie, we have established contact with those giant space beasts. That's the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, behind the Aqua Phoenix King. One of the Aqua Phoenixes suddenly asked softly. There's no reason to strike now. The Aqua Phoenix King looked at the Aqua Phoenix behind him, and his eyes flickered as he replied plainly. No reason. The Aqua Phoenix repeated and nodded slightly. He then took out the communication stone plate and sent a message. Currently, although the Dragon Palace had reconciled with the Phoenix race and Angel race, the hatred still existed. It was especially so after Wang Xian had killed some phoenixes and angels. These phoenixes and angels also had their own kin. A temporary reconciliation did not mean that some hatred could be resolved. After the Aqua Phoenix sent the message, a cold look flashed in his eyes. Within the starry cosmos, the news of the Faith Cosmos army attacking the starry sky giant city had spread for 2 days. Some experts outside the starry sky giant city had returned to the city. They wanted to watch the great battle. It was especially so for the experts and disciples of the peak races. They had some understanding of the strength of the starry sky giant city. Therefore, they were confident that the starry sky giant city would not be breached. Since there was no danger, they naturally wanted to come and watch the great battle. They wanted to see the might of the starry sky giant city, and how strong the Faith Cosmos army was. As for the experts and disciples of the peak races, they were not afraid. One by one, they returned to the starry sky giant city. When the experts and disciples of the peak races saw this scene, they were naturally not afraid. If the disciples of the peak races were not worried, what were they worried about? This also increased the number of experts and disciples in the starry sky giant city to a terrifying level. There were people almost everywhere. Or people who had taken human form. Chapter 3866, Let's go. I heard that the Faith Universe's army is coming. Let's hurry and be careful. Hehe, we've gained a lot this time. Maybe it won't be long before we can advance to the third-order sovereign realm. Indeed, with the resources provided by our Dragon King, our cultivation speed can't be any faster. I haven't seen our Dragon King for tens of millions of years. I wonder where he is now. Not far from the giant starry sky city, more than a dozen Dragon Palace experts were flying towards the city with smiles on their faces. Nowadays, all the disciples of the Dragon Palace were working hard to improve their strength. After tens of millions of years, the disciples of the Dragon Palace had grown a lot. Some of the top disciples had reached the second-order sovereign realm. The top ones had reached the fourth-order sovereign realm. Of course, this group of Dragon Palace experts did not include the Charm Dragon and Aosia. To be able to reach the fourth-order sovereign realm in a short period of tens of millions of years, this speed was already very terrifying. This was all because of the heart of faith. They're coming. Attack directly and destroy them. Hee, finally. I've tolerated those guys from the Dragon Palace for tens of millions of years. This time, it's finally time to act. In the past, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace gained the upper hand by relying on the ancient god Kuan Breeder. If it wasn't for the ancient god Kuan Breeder, we would have destroyed Dragon Palace a long time ago and they wouldn't be as mighty as they are now. Now that our elder has asked us to take action, he must be looking for a reason to destroy Dragon Palace. The strength of the Dragon Palace is not qualified to be compared to our Phoenix clan. If it weren't for special reasons, we would have destroyed the Dragon Palace long ago. Okay, let's do it. At the same time, more than a dozen phoenixes were not far from the Dragon Palace disciples. They looked at the Dragon Palace disciples flying towards them with cold eyes. "Stop, you despicable guys from the Dragon Palace. How dare you rob us of our treasures? Take it out." More than a dozen Dragon Palace disciples were flying towards the giant starry sky city. At this time, they were only a few minutes away from the city. Suddenly, a cold voice rang out. This made the Dragon Palace disciples slightly stunned, their faces filled with astonishment. In the next moment, they saw more than a dozen phoenixes attacking them. Streaks of ice blades flew towards them. "Be careful." When the disciples of Dragon Palace saw this, their faces changed slightly and they quickly hid to the side. Boom. "You want to escape? You won't be able to. Today, we will definitely kill you." More than 10 water phoenixes flew over. Their faces were filled with coldness and awe-inspiring divine dragons. They flapped their phoenix wings and attacked. The leader of the group was a third-order sovereign realm water phoenix. Although the strength of a third-order sovereign wasn't very strong, it was still a piece of cake for him to chase down and kill the dozen disciples of the Dragon Palace. "When did we steal your treasures?" A disciple of Dragon Palace in the middle shook and immediately turned into a fire divine dragon. He directly spewed out streams of dragon breath to meet their attacks and roared angrily, "Are you still not going to admit it? If you don't admit it, we will annihilate all of you." The water phoenix in the center roared with a menacing expression. "We're no match for them. Run. Run to the giant starry sky city. The experts of our Dragon Palace are there." A dozen disciples of Dragon Palace felt their power. Their expressions changed dramatically and they quickly flew forward. "You can't run away. Go to hell. Don't think that we won't fight back just because you're from the Dragon Palace. Die." A dozen water phoenixes flapped their huge phoenix wings at the same time. Sharp blades fell from the sky and covered the dozen disciples of Dragon Palace. "They are deliberately looking for trouble. Despicable and shameless Phoenix clan, our Dragon King will not let you off." A dozen disciples of Dragon Palace heard their voices and continued to resist the attacks from the sky. Their faces were incomparably ugly. "We are looking for trouble. We have retreated again and again. It's your Dragon Palace who wants a foot after giving an inch. Don't think that we, the Phoenix clan, are inferior to you. Today, I will kill you." The leading water phoenix roared loudly. "Chirp chirp." A phoenix cry resounded through the sky. "Heh! What's going on? What happened over there?" "It's the experts of the Phoenix clan. It seems that there are also disciples of Dragon Palace. Did they have a fight?" "I don't know. It seems that the disciples of Dragon Palace robbed the disciples of the Phoenix clan. But the disciples of Dragon Palace said that they didn't rob it. What's going on? It can't be. The experts of the Phoenix clan and the experts of Dragon Palace are fighting?" At this time, some experts in the giant starry sky city noticed the situation outside the city. Their faces were filled with astonishment. The position of the dozen disciples of Dragon Palace was very close to the giant starry sky city. During the fight, they fled to this side for some distance. This made the experts in the giant starry sky city feel it. Hearing the noise over there and the location of the fight, they were filled with astonishment. Their eyes lit up as they stared carefully. The situation over there quickly attracted the attention of the other experts and disciples in the giant starry sky city. One by one, they flew into the sky and looked in that direction with astonishment. "How dare you rob our treasures? Die." One by one, the experts and disciples looked over. At this time, they saw more than a dozen phoenixes with a third-order sovereign realm water phoenix approaching the group of experts from Dragon Palace. Terrifying attacks engulfed them. Due to the suppression of their levels, the disciples of Dragon Palace could only look back in horror. Puff, puff, puff. After the energy passed, more than a dozen disciples of Dragon Palace were killed. The experts of the Phoenix clan killed more than a dozen experts of Dragon Palace. What the hell is going on? Is the war between the Phoenix clan and Dragon Palace going to break out? It can't be. When our nine-source universe is at war with the Faith universe, how can there be internal strife? On the giant starry sky city, the experts and disciples were shocked when they saw this scene. especially when they saw the group of experts from the Phoenix clan killing the experts of Dragon Palace. Some experts from other top clans looked at this scene with shining eyes. It's finally here. But why did the Phoenix clan choose this time? The grievances between the Dragon Palace, the Phoenix clan, and the Angel clan can't be resolved. In the end, it will break out. But this time is special. Some experts on the giant starry sky city murmured. Chapter 3867. Huh? The news of the dozen disciples of Dragon Palace being killed spread like wildfire. Prime Minister Turtle soon received the news. When he saw the news, his expression changed drastically. He immediately informed Enlai to revive them with the soul-returning wood. He frowned slightly and immediately passed the news to Wang Xian. Ha! At the same time, at the edge of the endless starry sky, Wang Xian and the rest were searching for the gods who believed in the universe. Prime Minister Turtle's sudden message made him slightly stunned. Especially when he saw the contents inside, his eyes slowly revealed a cold expression. Have you found out the details? Wang Xian asked Prime Minister Turtle. Dragon King, I haven't found anything for the time being. According to some witnesses, the experts of the Phoenix clan said that a dozen disciples of our Dragon Palace robbed their treasures. Now I have asked Enlai to resurrect them, but I need some time to know the details. Prime Minister Turtle replied. All right, revive those dozen disciples as soon as possible and ask them about the details. If it's the responsibility of Dragon Palace, we'll bear it ourselves. But what if the Phoenix clan is looking for trouble? As Wang Xian spoke, he squinted his eyes. In that case, send the Phantom Dragon to attack the members of the Phoenix clan. Deal with it secretly first. We'll decide what to do after I return. Yes, Dragon King, Prime Minister Turtle answered immediately. Xiao Xian, what's the matter? Lan Qingyu asked from the side. More than a dozen disciples of Dragon Palace were killed by the Phoenix clan in public. The details are still unknown. If the Phoenix clan is looking for trouble, then this time, we will kill all their experts, disciples, and affiliated clans in the Starry Sky universe. Wang Xian said with a stern face. He was a reasonable person, and the Dragon Palace was also a reasonable force. If it was the disciples of Dragon Palace who robbed them of their treasures, the Dragon Palace would bear the responsibility. But if the Phoenix clan was looking for trouble, a war would break out. He had been silent for tens of millions of years. Did they really think they could catch up to him? The Phoenix clan? Lan Qingyu nodded her head heavily. The Divine Dragon clan and the Phoenix clan were on good terms in the past. I didn't expect them to do such a thing after the fall of the Divine Dragon clan. I don't know. Wang Xian shook his head. But now, if anyone dares to provoke us, we'll definitely make them pay a terrible price. Now, let's go and destroy the gods of this faith universe. As Wang Xian spoke, he continued flying forward. In this area, it was completely up to luck to meet the gods of the universe. However, the range was limited, and there was still a high chance of encountering it. Maybe tomorrow, maybe a year later. There was an element of luck involved. Just as Wang Xian was continuing his search for believers, a huge commotion broke out in the communication stone plate in the Nine Origins universe, located in the Starry Sky City. However, as the various powers discussed the matter, they were all extremely astonished. Because the Dragon Palace had not responded at all. He did not make any statement. It was like nothing had happened. This caused all the experts and disciples of the Peak clans and other high-level clans to be very surprised. This was not in line with the style of the Dragon Palace. 2 days had passed, but there was still no response from the Dragon Palace. It was as if nothing had happened. It's strange that the Dragon Palace did not respond. But maybe this is normal. After all, our Phoenix clan is no longer the Phoenix clan that has just stepped into the Starry Sky universe. The Dragon King's combat strength is at most at the 9th Order Sovereign Realm, which we can deal with. But when it comes to experts of other levels, the Dragon Palace is far behind. If another war breaks out, the Dragon Palace will definitely be crushed by us. Lowering their heads and keeping quiet is the best choice for them. At the same time, in a corner of the Starry Sky City, several 7th Order sovereigns from the Phoenix clan were laughing and chatting. But we can't just let it go. The deacon has ordered us to do so. We don't know when the Faith Universe's army will attack. Let's not kill the disciples of the Dragon Palace for the time being. Let's talk about it first. One of the Seventh Order Sovereign Realm Phoenixes spoke. The other Phoenixes nodded in agreement. The reason why the Dragon Palace did not say anything is because they know that they can't afford to provoke our Phoenix clan. At that time, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had the upper hand. That's why the Dragon Palace dared to be so arrogant towards us. Now that our Phoenix clan has caught up with them in terms of peak combat strength, what is the Dragon Palace to us? So what if our Phoenix clan killed a dozen experts from the Dragon Palace? Did he really think that our delaying tactic was because we were really afraid of the Dragon Palace? Afraid of the Dragon King? Our Phoenix clan killed a dozen disciples from the Dragon Palace. Does the Dragon Palace dare to let out a fart? All of a sudden, such news appeared in the communication stone plate. As soon as the news came out, it caused quite a stir. What? No way, the Phoenix clan is so fierce. Aren't they afraid of the Dragon King's revenge? This seems to be what the Phoenix clan's experts said. One of the accounts really belongs to the Phoenix clan. It's definitely from the Phoenix clan. Otherwise, who would dare to pretend to be an expert of the Phoenix clan? All the experts and disciples who saw the message in the communication stone plate were discussing in shock. Oh, interesting. On the side of the Angel clan, the experts and disciples of the Angel clan smirked when they saw the news in the communication stone plate. They immediately began to send out some messages on the communication stone plate. Don't be fooled by the fact that the Dragon Palace was stronger in the past. At that time, it was all because of the ancient god Kuan Breeder. Without the ancient god Kuan Breeder, would the Angel clan be afraid of them? However, tens of millions of years have passed. Given the foundation of the Angel clan and the Phoenix clan, we are no longer weaker than the ancient god Kuan Breeder. We have nothing to fear. Apart from the ancient god Kuan Breeder, the rest of the Dragon Palace are trash. Especially the experts at the Dominator level. They can't be compared to the other peak clans. In addition, the Dragon Palace didn't participate in the counterattack against the Faith Cosmos or the establishment of the 9 Origin Universe battle team. Firstly, the Dragon Palace is relatively weak. Secondly, they are indeed trash. The Dragon Palace didn't participate in the war between the 9 Origin Universe and the Faith Cosmos. How can such a Dragon Palace be considered a peak clan of the 9 Origin Universe? Chapter 3868. All of a sudden, public opinion exploded in the communication stone plate. The message that the Phoenix race powerhouses had issued in the communication stone plate was suspected to be the message that the Angel race had issued in the communication stone plate. It could be said to have caused a huge sensation. The Angel race is also participating. What's going on? Are they going to start a war with the Dragon Palace again? That's possible. After all, the Dragon Palace killed many of their disciples. It won't be easy to resolve this grudge. The Angel race's words make sense. The Dragon Palace's disciples didn't participate in the recent war with the Faith Universe. I wonder what's going on. Is it really because the Dragon Palace is weak? I saw a lot of Sovereign Realm experts in the Dragon Palace, but it seems like they are mostly first or second order sovereigns. There are very few third order sovereigns and above. I haven't seen any. No matter how you look at it, the Dragon King and the others of the Dragon Palace are not participating in these battles. This is a war between the 9 Origins Cosmos and the Faith Cosmos. All the other peak races are participating. It's not right for the Dragon Palace to not participate. The Dragon Palace is wrong in the war between our 9 Origins universe and the Faith universe. After all, when the cataclysm comes, it will be a war between universes. If our 9 Origins universe isn't united, we might be destroyed. The experts and disciples of various races discussed in the communication stone plate. Some disciples from the Angel race and Phoenix race started to criticize the Dragon Palace for not participating in the war against the Faith universe's army. This was something that all of the peak races and the disciples of the 9 Essences Cosmos agreed with. It was obviously wrong for the Dragon Palace to not participate in the war between the 9 Origins universe and the Faith universe. This was clearly the behavior of cowards and cowards. So what if our phoenix race killed the disciples of the Dragon Palace? Humph. Although the Dragon Palace is the weakest among the 13 peak races, they didn't do anything in the war against the Faith Universe. What cowards! What trash! In the hall of a restaurant in the Starry Sky City, many experts and disciples were discussing the Dragon Palace. An expert from the Phoenix clan suddenly spoke with disdain on his face. His words caused the surrounding people to be slightly shocked. Saying it out in public was obviously a provocation to the Dragon Palace. In the past, many experts and disciples of the Phoenix clan were unhappy because of Heavenly Fire Great Ancestor. They even scolded them behind their backs. But on this matter, they couldn't say anything. At the very least, during the war between the Nine Origin Cosmos and the Faith Cosmos, the Phoenix clan didn't hide away like the Dragon Palace. In this aspect, the Phoenix clan did not blacken, but the Dragon Palace did not. This public opinion quickly swept through the entire Starry Sky City. Currently, tens of billions of experts and disciples from the Nine Origins universe had gathered in the Starry Sky City. Any piece of news would spread very quickly. Gradually, more and more disciples of the Nine Origins Cosmos began to talk about the Dragon Palace not participating in the war with the Starry Sky Cosmos. This had greatly affected the reputation of the Dragon Palace. The high-level subsidiary races that were close to the Angel race and the Phoenix race even said that the Dragon Palace was a coward in the Nine Essences universe, and that it didn't deserve to be a top race in the Nine Essences universe. Naturally, Prime Minister Turtle also received the news. He transmitted everything to Wang Xian. It seems like the Phoenix clan is deliberately provoking us. In the ocean at the edge of the infinite starry sky, Wang Xian squinted his eyes and had a sinister look. The massacre of the disciples of the Dragon Palace 2 days ago might have been because of the disciples of the Dragon Palace. But now, the sudden outbreak of public opinion was obviously against the Dragon Palace. To say that the Dragon Palace didn't participate in the war against the Faith Cosmos? Wang Xian sneered. It seems like I have to find the gods of the Faith Cosmos as soon as possible and then return. Everyone who did wrong will pay a terrible price, he murmured. Hey! Lan Qingyu, who was standing at the side, suddenly exclaimed. Wang Xian heard her exclamation and looked over. Xiao Xian, I can sense the aura of the gods of the Faith Cosmos. They should be heading towards us. Lan Qingyu looked at Wang Xian and said. Are we finally going to meet them? Wang Xian was delighted when he heard Lan Qingyu's words. They're here. Lan Qingyu nodded and looked in a direction. Qingyu, hide first. Wang Xian waved his arm and kept Lan Qingyu into the mother nest. He moved and sat there motionlessly, as though he didn't sense the gods of the Faith Cosmos. I can sense the aura of the Dragon King. At this moment, over 200 rank 7 gods were flying aimlessly on Wang Xian's left. Suddenly, the rank 7 god in the center of the battlefield narrowed his eyes, a cold glint flashing in his eyes as he spoke. Ha! Are you sure? The surrounding rank 7 gods were taken aback as they looked at him to confirm. I'm 100% sure. I can sense the aura of the Dragon King even if he's reduced to ashes. He's just ahead. We must eliminate him this time. The rank 7 gods nodded heavily as his eyes were filled with flames of hatred. Previously, he was the only one who escaped with the help of a treasure when he was being hunted by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Not only did he feel humiliated, but he also lost a life-saving treasure. This filled him with rage and made him want to kill him for revenge. Now, it was finally here. Let's go and fly over immediately. We can't let the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace escape this time. We must eliminate the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace this time. More than 200 gods nodded their heads solemnly. They moved and flew in that direction rapidly. He's just ahead, I can see him. Lock onto him first. Stars, sky ceiling palm. The rank 7 gods flew over and immediately noticed Wang Xian sitting cross-legged in front of them. Their eyes lit up. The 7 gods in charge of the starfield fragment did not hesitate and immediately channeled their energy into the starfield fragment. At the side, the 3 rank 7 gods moved their palms and runic spheres that looked like stars flew into the sky. These runic spheres arrived above Wang Xian at a terrifying speed. following which, palms that were clasped together appeared in the sky. The gigantic palms, which were clasped together, sealed off the entire domain. This was a powerful sealing treasure in the faith cosmos that could trap even rank 9 gods. Chapter 3869, Sky Palms. Massive palms appeared around Wang Xian out of thin air. As the palms connected, the terrifying power of faith sealed off Wang Xian's surroundings. The palms had sealed off an entire starry sky. Wang Xian's eyes flickered when he saw the power of forbidden space and the murderous gazes in front of him. Swish, swish, swish. Before he could make a move, over 200 rank 7 gods had already flown over and surrounded Wang Xian. In the center, the 8 rank 7 gods who controlled the stellar field fragment did not dodge when they saw Wang Xian. Instead, stars flew out from the stellar field fragment and surrounded Wang Xian as well. A double blockade. Ha ha ha, Dragon King of Dragon Palace, let's see where you can escape to this time. Let's see how you can escape this time. The only surviving rank 7 god flew over and stared at Wang Xian, who was trapped in the center, with a malevolent look on his face. His eyes were filled with excitement as he roared. Wang Xian looked at him and swept his gaze across the 200 rank 7 gods around him. Your faith universe really thinks highly of me. To think that you would send over 200 rank 7 gods this time. Hee hee. A faint smile appeared on his face as he calmly said, "How can you still smile at this time? Dragon King of Dragon Palace, do you really think that we can't do anything to you? Let me tell you, as long as we can kill you, we can bring your corpse back. At that time, the experts of Faith Universe will hunt you down. Even if you have a treasure that can revive you, we can still kill you." The rank 7 god said with a stern look. After tens of millions of years of pursuit and escape, they had a detailed understanding of Wang Xian's strength. To them, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace was at most a rank 7 sovereign. All of them relied on treasures to unleash strength comparable to a rank 9 god. However, they were well aware of Wang Xian's trump cards. Over these tens of millions of years, Wang Xian had been trapped here and could not have made any improvements. This also meant that his strength had not changed. Under such circumstances, he was 100% confident that he could annihilate him. Hehe. You guys from the universe of faith want to kill me? Wang Xian stared at him and sneered. Don't tell me you guys think that we have been discovered. Wang Xian's words stunned the tier 7 gods who believed in the universe. They narrowed their eyes and scanned their surroundings. Dragon King, are you going to tell us that you are waiting for us here? Haha, then I want to see how you are going to resist the starfield fragment of our faith universe. Don't talk nonsense with him. Kill the Dragon King of Dragon Palace first. The rank 7 god roared. Kill him. How dare you kill the experts of our belief universe? Today shall be the day of your Dragon Palace's Dragon King's death. Dragon King of Dragon Palace, it's your honor to die in our hands. Over 200 gods stared at Wang Xian and remarked coldly. Their auras began to rise. Woo woo woo. Woo woo woo. Upon hearing their words, Wang Xian revealed a smile. He waved his arm and Lan Qingyu appeared beside him. Lan Qingyu stood there and smiled faintly. In an instant, an incomparably huge black hole appeared behind them, and Little Blue's figure emerged from the black hole. Break. Lan Qingyu did not hesitate. She waved her arm and similarly formed terrifying grey palms. The grey palms attacked the sky-sealing palm. Little Blue, don't let them escape. Don't leave a single one alive. Kill them all. Wang Xian shouted immediately. The Tai Chi dragon plate around him began to spin, and the 5 elements grindstone hovered above his head. The Soul Battleship and Soul Spear appeared at the same time. 4 Nether Ghost avatars appeared on his left and right. In an instant, Wang Xian unleashed almost all his trump card. Boom, 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 boom. At this moment, Lan Qingyue's attack collided with the sky-sealing palm. The horrifying attack caused the huge palms of faith formed by the sky-sealing palm to crumble rapidly. Lan Qingyue's strength had reached the 7th order sovereign realm after Little Blue's reverse nurturing. Without the suppression of the Starfield universe, she could unleash the strength of a pinnacle sovereign. That was equivalent to the strength of a pinnacle pantheon expert. The heavenly palm forbidding space was easily defeated. At the same time, the grey palms continued to attack the stars released by the star domain fragment. Star after star slowly began to crumble under the attack of the greyish palm. The grey palms released by Lan Qingyu also began to crumble gradually. With a single attack, she had broken the seal of all the rank 7 gods. What? The sudden change, the sudden appearance of Lan Qingyu, and the sudden terrifying attack. All the rank 7 gods stiffened as their eyes widened gradually. The rank 7 gods were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. How could this be possible? Beside the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, a rank 7 cosmic beast and a human who was comparable to the pinnacle pantheon experts had appeared. Woo. While they were in a daze, Little Blue followed Wang Xian's command and attacked the rank 7 gods who controlled the 8 starfield fragment. With a sway of its huge body, it arrived before them in an instant. The distance between the two parties was already very close. The 200-odd rank 7 gods that surrounded Wang Xian and the others felt as though the void was collapsing and pressing down on them, a suffocating aura surge. How could this be? One of the rank 7 gods couldn't help but roar. Damn it! Block it! Star sector neutron star. The 8 rank 7 gods who controlled the starfield fragments were also horrified as they channeled their power of faith into the star sector fragment. An incomparably large and heavy star flew out from the star domain fragment, heading straight for Xiaolan. Woo. Little Blue let out a low growl and charged towards the neutron star without any fear. Boom. Just like the Big Bang of the universe, the horrifying impact surged towards the surroundings. Cracks appeared on the neutron star, but Little Blue didn't seem to be injured. Wung. The 200-odd rank 7 gods around them couldn't help but be thrown off by this majestic force. Hai Tang, big fish. Lan Qingyu swept her gaze across the rank 7 gods around her with a cold look in her eyes. Her body trembled, and around her, a number of greyish fishes condensed from energy appeared, directly attacking the 200-odd rank 7 god. Chapter 3870, Not Good. Damn it. We are no match for them. How did they become so powerful all of a sudden? How did this happen? More than 200 rank 7 gods were sent flying by the shockwaves from the collision between Little Blue and the starfield fragment. In the next instant, they saw the ancient god Kuan Breeder's attack coming towards them. They knew about the ancient god Kuan Breeder. They knew about the Dragon King from the Dragon Palace. They knew everything. They even knew that the ancient god Kuan Breeder's 3 Kuan were equally terrifying. However, they were only comparable to a 6th-order sovereign realm giant star beast. They could still fight or even kill it. But now, everything was out of their expectations. The ancient god Kuan Breeder and one of his Kuan had suddenly broken through. Was it really that easy to break through? If it was that easy, the 6th-order sovereign star beast that they had subdued with faith power would have been cultivated to the 7th-order sovereign realm. How could it be so easy to break through? Ever since the first 6th-order sovereign Kuan was subdued by some of the palaces in their universe, these palaces had tried to help it break through. However, it was not that easy. Especially since both sides had different cultivation systems. Even if they also had some energy that the starry sky behemoths could absorb, they couldn't break through just because they wanted to. It would take at least 100 million years to break through from the 6th order to the 7th order. It was the same for the 9 Origins universe. In the records, there was no record of an expert breaking through from the 6th order to the 7th order in just a few million years. However, the ancient god Kuan Breeder had broken through. This was completely out of their expectations. The 200-plus Tier 7 gods revealed expressions of fear when they sensed the power of a peak god approaching them. This move could kill all of them in an instant. The gap was too big. They were only at the 7th order realm. There was still a huge gap between them and a peak god. Even those with supreme treasures would not be able to withstand it. More than 200 rank 7 gods came from the power of 2 palaces. Each of the palaces had the power of a rank 9 god. Even with 2 rank 9 gods added together, there was still a huge gap between them and a peak god. Save us. Quick. Save us. The 200 rank 7 gods screamed at the 8 rank 7 gods who were controlling the starfield fragment. Galaxy protection. When the 8 rank 7 gods saw this, their faces turned ugly. They gritted their teeth and injected a huge amount of energy again. A river of stars appeared in the surroundings and swept towards them. The star river enveloped the 200-odd rank 7 gods. Fly over quickly. The 8 rank 7 gods roared in unison. Boom boom boom. The 200 tier 7 gods immediately flew towards the 8 tier 7 gods with bloodshot eyes. However, Lan Qingyue's attack landed on the Galaxy Guardian. The attack was also comparable to the attack of a pinnacle pantheon, and the entire galaxy barrier trembled violently. The 200-plus rank 7 gods in the center couldn't help but vomit a mouthful of blood. Hehe, none of you will escape today. Wang Xian sneered and looked at Lan Qingyu. Qingyu, you and Xiaolan will suppress those 8 guys. Leave the rest to me, Xiaobai and the rest. All right. Lan Qingyu nodded. In the next second, she appeared on Xiaolan's body. Woo woo woo. As for Xiaolan, she charged towards the starfield fragment. That terrifying force wasn't afraid of the starfield fragment at all. The starfield fragment was powerful, but it was only controlled by the rank 7 gods. If it was a higher level god, they could unleash even more power, but they were still too weak. Lan Qingyu stood on Xiaolan's body. With a wave of her arm, the surroundings instantly turned into a grey ocean. Xiaolan was in the grey ocean, which made its aura even more terrifying and vast. Oh no, we are no match for them if they join forces. With the help of the starfield fragment, we can only fight against 1 pinnacle galactic beast at most. They are equivalent to 2. Damn it, how did this happen? How can the Dragon Palace be so strong? The 8 rank 7 gods exclaimed in horror. When they saw the invincible Xiaolan and Lan Qingyu, their hearts skipped a beat. But at this moment, they could no longer dodge. They gritted their teeth and started to defend with all their might. Behind them, Wang Xian waved his arm, and the 5 elements grindstone attacked the 200 rank 7 god. At the same time, the Tai Chi dragon board transformed into a divine light and darkness dragon and flew out from his surroundings to attack them. He stood on the soul warship, held the soul spear in his hand, and threw it out. Swish swish swish. 2 soul spears were thrown out one by one. Woo woo. Woo woo. Little Otaku, Xiaobai, and the rest growled and attacked the rank 7 gods on the other side. Back then, Wang Xian and Lan Qingyu could deal with the army of 10 rank 7 gods if they joined forces. But now, they were only dealing with the strength of 2 rank 7 gods. It was a complete suppression. Even the 5 elements grindstone alone was enough to suppress them. Not to mention that they had the strength of 2 to 3 times that of the Tai Chi dragon board. The attack of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace is here. We can't hold them off. The strength of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace is not something we can handle. It's over, it's all over. How did this happen? The rank 7 gods of the 2 rank 7 gods were in despair when they saw Wang Xian charging over. They had never imagined that this would be the result. They had never expected their opponent to be so terrifying. Over 200 rank 7 gods saw Wang Xian, Xiaobai, and the rest. They unleashed their strongest attacks in an attempt to defend themselves. No. But when the energies collided, they began to crumble. Waves of horrifying 5 elements and yin-yang energy surged into their bodies, whittling away their vitality. Wang Xian stood on the soul warship and rammed it at the rank 7 gods. The soul spears pierced through the bodies of the rank 7 gods with ease. 1 soul spear pierced through a dozen rank 7 gods and killed them instantly. 2 soul spears killed nearly 30 rank 7 gods in an instant. It was a complete instant kill. Similarly, the 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi dragon board killed over 100 rank 7 gods instantly. Beside them, Xiaobai and Little Otaku also killed dozens of rank 7 gods in an instant. In an instant, only 30 to 40 rank 7 gods were left out of the original 200. The gap was huge. This was a battle on a completely different level. Chapter 3871, It's over. The remaining 30 to 40 rank 7 gods looked at the terrifying Dragon King and the others with despair on their faces. The strength of the Dragon King and the others was simply too terrifying. Oh no! The 8 rank 7 gods were shocked and horrified when they saw this scene. Over 200 tier 7 gods, the peak forces of the 2 palaces, had actually been annihilated by 80% of Dragon Palace's Dragon King's group. The remaining 30 to 40 rank 7 gods could not escape at all. They could not resist at all. The strength of 2 palaces was not enough to fight against the Dragon King. They knew this very well. The remaining 30 to 40 rank 7 gods would not be able to escape either. This was not what scared them the most. What scared them the most was that the terrifying astral behemoth and the ancient god Kuan breeder had completely suppressed the stellar realm fragment. I'm afraid our faith universe is going to suffer heavy losses this time. One of the rank 7 gods could not help but growl in a low voice. Woo woo woo. You will be the next to die. At this moment, Xiao Lan's growl and Lan Qingyue's voice rang in their ears. Around them, the grey ocean was pressing down on them. Planet explosion. The 8 rank 7 gods had ugly expressions as they injected a large amount of faith energy into the stellar realm fragment. Their eyes were bloodshot as they growled. Hum. From within the stellar realm fragment, an unstable planet slowly formed, as though it could explode at any time. It could erupt with terrifying power. Kuan devour. Xiao Lan saw the unstable planet and immediately opened its mouth. A Kuan formed from condensed energy opened its horrifying mouth and swallowed the planet. Hum. Boom. Boom. The planet had just been swallowed when a terrifying explosion occurred within it. However, this explosion only caused the condensed Kuan to dissipate immediately. The grey sea water around them was still rushing towards them. It's over. We can only fight against 1. We can't fight against 2. I can't accept this. Seeing this, the 8 rank 7 gods roared in despair and unwillingness. Hualala. However, in the next second, waves of seawater rushed over and their voices disappear. They could not stop it. The starfield fragment's power could only block Little Blue at most. With the addition of Lan Qingyu, it would be impossible. Under such circumstances, the weakness of relying on external forces became apparent. 8 rank 7 gods were instantly killed. Not good, the 8 envoys were killed. When the remaining 40 tier 7 gods saw this situation, they despaired. Whoosh 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 whoosh. However, Wang Xian did not hesitate at all. He flew in front of them and sent streams of energy into their bodies. Instant kill. Another instant kill. This was not a fight against a cataclysm. With a wave of his arm, Wang Xian kept all the corpses with a smile. Xiao Xian, it's settled. Lan Qingyu smiled faintly as she spoke to Wang Xian. En. Wang Xian nodded his head and looked at the location of the star region fragment. The starfield fragment floated there and didn't fly away like last time. With a move of his body, he immediately flew over, and a palm formed from condensed energy reached out to grab him. Bam! However, this caused the star domain fragment to tremble once more, and it flew directly in a certain direction. Heh! When Lan Qingyu saw this, she waved her arm, and a stream of energy intercepted the star domain fragment. Wong wong wong. The energy released by Lan Qingyu had blocked the star domain fragment. The star domain fragment trembled and didn't break free immediately. Hey! She can stop it. Wang Xian's eyes lit up when he saw this. Swish. However, in the next second, the star domain fragment broke free from Lan Qingyue's defense and continued flying in another direction. Let's see if we can hold it in place. Wang Xian shouted and immediately went to Xiao Lan's body. Woo woo. Woo woo. Xiao Lan let out a low growl and immediately gave chase. Lan Qingyu immediately followed by the side and chased after the star domain fragment. Wong wong wong. Wong wong wong. However, just as Wang Xian and the rest were chasing the star beast, at the giant starry sky city, just as the experts and disciples of all the races were discussing about the Dragon Palace and the Phoenix clan, an anxious voice suddenly sounded. The entire giant starry sky city shook slightly. Everyone instantly realized that there was an enormous shadow of the Radiance Angel floating in the sky above the giant starry sky city. Below it, they could see the shadow of 10 enormous black tortoises emerging. The entire giant starry sky city was instantly activated with a series of terrifying defensive arrays. The entire heaven and earth seemed to have undergone a huge change. What's happening? Everyone was slightly taken aback when they saw this scene. Their faces were filled with shock. The army of the universe of faith is attacking. All experts above the level of Dominator climb the city walls of the giant starry sky city and come to the designated positions of the races. At this time, a voice resounded in everyone's mind. The army of the universe of faith is here. They are really here. Those damn guys. Our entire giant starry sky city has undergone a horrifying change. What's that shadow of the Radiance Angel in the sky? It looks so horrifying. And the shadow of the black tortoise below. Is this the defense of our giant starry sky city? When the experts and disciples of all the races heard this voice, their faces were filled with astonishment. The existences at the level of Dominator immediately flew towards the city walls. As for the rest of the disciples, they followed closely behind and looked into the distance. Why can't I see anything? The army of the universe of faith is not here yet. Our giant starry sky city naturally discovered their arrival in advance. It's already too late for us to react when we see the giant starry sky city. The group of experts and disciples flew into the sky. When they saw all the experts of the apex races looking in one direction, they also looked in that direction. However, they did not see anything. They're here. The army of the universe of faith is here. I want to see exactly how strong the universe of faith is. At the same time, at the strongest position of the city walls, the experts of the 13 apex races stood in front of the city walls. One by one, the experts of the apex races murmured. In the recent tens of millions of years of war, the Nine Origins cosmos did not have a complete understanding of the strength of the universe of faith. Now that the army of the universe of faith had arrived, even if it was not 100% of its strength, it was at least 90%. This was a good opportunity to find out more. Chapter 3872. In front of the city, all the experts from the various races stared coldly in front of them. Behind them, all the disciples gradually calmed down as they stared at the city in front of them. They were waiting for the arrival of the universe of faith's army. 5 minutes passed. Accompanied by a roar, an incomparably huge army appeared in front of everyone. The huge army was divided into 20 smaller armies. Although they were called small armies, each army had millions of disciples. The first thing that entered their line of sight were 10 incomparably huge cities in the starry sky. A 6th-order sovereign realm star beast was comparable to 10 9th-order sovereigns from the Nine Origins universe. Other than the 10 eye-catching star beasts, there was also an illusory image floating in the center. There were also some images condensed from faith power. Every single one of them contained a tremendous amount of power. Above the giant starry sky city, the expressions of all the experts from the peak clans changed slightly when they saw this scene. The power of the universe of faith is much stronger than we imagined. I thought they would have 16 or 17 armies at most. I didn't expect them to have 21 armies. The pupils of the experts from the peak clans shrank slightly as they murmured. Their faces were filled with shock. On the other hand, the expressions of Prime Minister Turtle and the others didn't change. No one knew the power of the universe of faith better than the Dragon Palace. In fact, the universe of faith had sent their strongest force to deal with the Dragon King. A fragment of heaven's origin fortune. This universe of faith is really terrifying. I heard that the forces of the universe of faith are divided into 24 palaces. Do these armies represent the palaces? How can they be so strong? Look at the front of those armies. They either have the strength of a 6th-order sovereign realm star beast or they have the strength to fight against a 6th-order sovereign realm star beast. Is this the strength of the universe of faith? My God, look at the number of experts in each army that can match our 7th-order sovereigns. There are over 100 of them in each army. How is this possible? Also, there are 70 to 80,000 experts in each army that make me feel suffocated. They should all be existences of the God realm. Aren't they a little too strong? I feel like they are much stronger than our Nine Origins universe. An incomparably shocked voice came from behind. Not many disciples below the Nine Essences hegemon level were participating in this battle. They had been obediently listening to all kinds of orders, either to retreat here or to leave this place. Most of them had never seen the powerful army of the Faith Universe. Now that they saw the power of the universe of faith, they were all shocked beyond belief. It seems like the Nine Essences Universe's forces at the city walls are only half of the Conviction Universe's forces. That's 2 million sovereigns we're talking about. Some of the disciples at the peak of the Venerable Realm made a comparison, and their faces were filled with shock. The number of Faith Universe Army powerhouses exceeded their expectations. It also surpassed the number of experts from the peak races of the Nine Origins universe. Yes, every small legion has at least 70 to 80,000 soldiers, but what about us? The Dragon Palace only sent a few thousand Sovereign Realm experts, and most of them are below the Third Order Sovereign Realm. It seems the gap between us and the Faith Universe is huge. Everyone felt a sense of pressure as they murmured to themselves. Faith Universe's strength has indeed exceeded our expectations. A Seventh Order Sovereign Realm sorcerer from the Sorcerer tribe said with a frown. The experts from the peak races around him nodded their heads silently. A powerful wave of pressure surged over. However, there was no fear on their faces. They were still 100% confident in the giant starry sky city. Ha ha ha, trash from the Nine Origins universe. Are you thinking of relying on this broken city to protect yourselves? At this time, an incomparably arrogant voice came from the opposite side. Although there was a language barrier, everyone could understand what he was saying through the spiritual fluctuations. His words caused the expressions of all the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences cosmos to sink. HMPH, trash from the Faith Universe. Do you think you can break our giant starry sky city with your strength? Today, none of you will return alive. The great devil of the devil race glared at them and roared in a low voice. Ha ha ha, none of us will return alive. With just a bunch of trash from the Nine Origins universe. Come on out. Let us see how many experts your Nine Origins universe has and what you have to compete with our Faith Universe. One of the rank 7 gods from the Faith Universe laughed maniacally. The 21 legions of the Faith Universe. They slowly arrived in front of the giant starry sky city. They stopped in the void and swept their gazes across the experts and disciples on the giant starry sky city. Their faces were filled with mockery and disdain. In a moment, you will know what we have to compete with you. An old man with the aura of a scholar from the sage bloodline replied coldly with a fan in his hand. Ha ha, at a glance, the Nine Origins universe only has this many experts. What trash. I think all of you are turtles hiding in your shells. Do you have the guts to come out and fight with us? One of the rank 7 gods sneered. I heard that this giant starry sky city was built by the Nine Origins universe using a large amount of treasures to protect their lives. Haha, they only dare to hide in here. How could they dare to come out and fight with our Faith Universe? From what I can tell, the Nine Essences universe can't even compare to our Faith Universe. If the true cataclysm comes, all of the living beings in this tiny Nine Essences universe will become our believers. They'll prostrate themselves at our feet and sing praises of our greatness. That's right. I thought the Nine Origins universe was strong. Now that I look at it, TSK, what trash. The rank 7 gods from the 24 palaces sized up the giant starry sky city and sneered. Their faces were filled with arrogance and disdain. Their arrogant words spread throughout the giant starry sky city, causing all the experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe to have ugly expressions. However, there was nothing they could do to retort. Without relying on the giant starry sky city, they were indeed no match for the Faith Universe's army. Their strength made the experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe feel invincible. Without the giant starry sky city, they would most likely have to flee. Chapter 3873. These damned fellows are too arrogant. That's right, those trash from the Faith Universe are too arrogant. Sooner or later, we will make them pay a terrible price. All the experts and disciples from the Nine Origins universe had ugly expressions on their faces when they heard their arrogant provocation. But there was nothing they could do. They didn't even have the confidence to retort. Prime Minister Turtle and the others raised their brows when they heard the words of the Faith Universe's gods. Faith Universe's gods, don't be too arrogant. Prime Minister Turtle's eyes flickered as he said indifferently, "Ha ha ha. Arrogant. What can you do to us if we are arrogant? If you have the guts, come out and fight with us. Ha ha ha. Are you afraid? Don't worry, even if you stay in this city, we will slaughter all of you." One of the rank 7 gods snorted disdainfully when he heard Prime Minister Turtle's words. "You guys are very strong, but it's still not enough to break through the defenses of the Starry Sky City. It's hard to say who will win this battle." Prime Minister Turtle replied indifferently. "Who do you think you are? You are equivalent to us rank 3 gods, and you still dare to talk to us? Is your 9 Origins universe so trash that you need a rank 3 god to speak? Ha ha ha." In the Faith Universe's army, a Tier 7 god glared at Prime Minister Turtle and said disdainfully. He then looked at the experts and disciples of the 13 Apex races and said, "I've heard that the 9 Origins universe isn't weak, but it seems like it's nothing much. When the cataclysm arrives, you guys will be the first to be destroyed. Haha, I indeed don't have the qualifications to talk to you, but my Dragon Palace does." Prime Minister Turtle stared at them and replied plainly, "Your Dragon Palace is still too weak. You should be the first to make a fool of yourself." Just as Prime Minister Turtle finished his sentence, a 7th Order Sovereign Realm expert from the Phoenix clan suddenly spoke up. "Ha ha." Some of the experts from the Angel clan also sneered and glanced at Prime Minister Turtle and the others. Although the Phoenix clan's experts' words weren't loud, and the Faith Universe's experts couldn't hear them from the front, the 9 Origins universe's disciples heard them loud and clear. They looked at the Dragon Palace with twinkling eyes. "It does seem like, Dragon Palace? You are the subordinates of Dragon Palace's Dragon King? The forces of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King, I'll let you suffer a fate worse than death when I break through your city." However, just as the eyes of the experts and disciples of the 9 Essences universe were flickering with different thoughts, a cold roar came from up ahead. "Hee hee, yes." Hearing their words, Prime Minister Turtle chuckled. What's going on? I don't know. What's going on? Those people who believe in the universe seem to hate the Dragon King very much." This sudden scene caused all the experts and disciples of the 9 Essences cosmos to be slightly shocked. "Dragon Palace, you are the subordinates of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Your Dragon King has been trapped by our Faith Universe for more than 30 million years. Do you think he can escape and survive? If the Dragon King of Dragon Palace dies, all the disciples of Dragon Palace will die too." A Tier 7 god from one of the 21st Legion's headquarters said with a look of extreme hatred. He was an expert from the Heavenly Imperial Palace, and he had a relative who had been killed by Wang Xian. "Hee hee, your Faith Universe has gathered half of its forces and still failed to destroy our Dragon King after tens of millions of years. Don't even think about destroying us in the future. On the contrary, your Faith Universe will be destroyed one by our Dragon King." Prime Minister Turtle said plainly. "Do you think your Dragon King can escape this time? Our Faith Cosmos has used the Heaven Origin Fortune Treasure Fragment. Do you think your Dragon King can withstand it? Don't worry, we'll wipe you out. Next, we'll pay a visit to your Dragon King and take his head." Not far from the Heavenly Imperial Palace Legion, the experts from the Order Palace said with murderous intent. "Hee hee." Prime Minister Turtle chuckled coldly. "Who doesn't know how to brag? Heaven Yuan Palace is a good example. What the fuck, what's going on? The Dragon King of Dragon Palace has been trapped for more than 30 million years. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace has mobilized half of the forces of the entire Faith Universe to resist him, and even used the Heaven Yuan Fortune Treasure Fragment. This. Oh my god, what has the Dragon King of Dragon Palace done? That can't be, right?" This is a conversation between Prime Minister Turtle and the celestial beings of the Faith Universe. This is too terrifying. The Faith Universe has mobilized half of its forces to resist the Dragon King, and now the Dragon King has been trapped for more than 30 million years. Even with the Heaven Yuan Fortune Treasure Fragment, they still can't defeat the Dragon King? What has the Dragon King done? What's the lesson from the mistakes of Heaven Yuan Palace? At this moment, the experts and disciples of all the races in the 9 Source universe widened their eyes in disbelief and horror. What did they hear? What did the Dragon King of Dragon Palace do when all the experts and disciples were unaware? How could he infuriate the entire faith universe? They were even gritting their teeth. What was the lesson from the mistakes of Heaven Yuan Palace? On the city wall, the experts of the various races were also looking at Prime Minister Turtle, their expressions changing constantly. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace is very strong. Without him, our faith universe would have wiped out all the trash in your nine-source universe tens of millions of years ago. However, it's not too late to wipe them out now. Before the cataclysm, we will descend upon your nine-source universe and wipe out your Dragon Palace. In the center of the faith universe's army, a rank 7 god said with a sinister expression. Hearing this, all the experts and disciples of the nine-source universe were shocked again. Without the Dragon King, they would have been wiped out tens of millions of years ago. The reason they were not wiped out and chased out of the starry universe was because of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. However, when they looked at the powerful army and strength of the faith universe, they felt that the possibility was very high. At least back then, their nine-source universe did not have such a powerful starry city. In that case, the reason they could fight with the faith universe for tens of millions of years was because the Dragon King of Dragon Palace had restrained half of the forces of the faith universe. Was that why they could resist the faith universe for so long? Thinking of this, everyone could not help but gasp, and their faces were filled with shock. The Dragon Palace was completely different from what they had imagined. Chapter 3874, The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. In front of the city wall, all the powerhouses of the peak races stared at Prime Minister Turtle. Shock was written all over their faces. Prime Minister Turtle, has the Dragon King been fighting the Faith Universe's army? A great elf from the fairy race couldn't help but ask Prime Minister Turtle. Yes. 30 to 40 million years ago, our Dragon Palace entered the Faith Universe's territory. Prime Minister Turtle turned his head and nodded with a smile. There are 24 palaces in the universe of faith, each with an army. Each army has 7 or 8 pantheon experts. Each palace has a powerful trump card. Right now, experts from 2 palaces are using the Heaven Origin Fortune Shard to trap our Dragon King in an area. As for the primordial Heaven Palace army, they have been wiped out by the Dragon King. As Prime Minister Turtle spoke, the experts from the peak races were even more shocked. At present, there are still 2 legions that can restrain the Dragon King with the help of the fragment of a treasure like the Fortune of Heaven's Origin. That was the Heaven Origin Fortune. A treasure of this level was simply equivalent to an invincible existence. It was equivalent to a Heaven Origin Fortune expert. Even if it was just a fragment, it was still a terrifying existence. It could at least unleash the destructive power of a peak sovereign realm expert, right? 2 legions and such treasures had merely trapped the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace in one place for over 30 million years without killing him. How terrifying was the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the rest? How much had the Dragon Palace done for the Nine Sources universe in the past tens of millions of years? If the Faith universe really possessed such terrifying power, the peak races of the Nine Sources universe wouldn't be a match for the 24 palaces and 24 armies. In fact, the gap was huge. I didn't expect the Dragon King to have done so much. The Great Fairy of the Fairy Clan sighed slightly. She looked around and said, "It seems that some races have wrongly blamed the Dragon Palace. Without the Dragon Palace, it's hard to say whether our Nine Origins universe could have established itself in the Starry Sky universe." His words made some of the experts from the top clans around him nod silently. It turns out that we have wrongly blamed the Dragon King. The Dragon King has contributed more to the Nine Sources universe than all the other peak races combined. Isn't that right? For the past tens of millions of years, the Dragon King has actually gone up against half of the Faith universe's forces. How terrifying. The Dragon Palace has indeed contributed more to the Nine Origins universe than the other peak races. The Dragon Palace is the true hero behind the scenes. We actually blamed them not too long ago. At the back, the disciples of all the races whispered to each other. Some disciples looked at the Phoenix race and the Angel race with flickering eyes. At this moment, all the experts and disciples of the Phoenix clan looked extremely embarrassed. After all, they had just launched an attack on the Dragon Palace not long ago. They had even openly provoked the Dragon Palace, saying through the communication stone plate that the Dragon Palace had not made any contributions to the Nine Origins universe, and that they were not worthy of being one of the top races in the Faith universe. But now, this was simply a slap in the face. Most importantly, the strength of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King had exceeded the expectations of the Phoenix clan. Putting everything else aside, the strength of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the others was not something that the Phoenix clan could fight against. Now that they had provoked the Dragon Palace and even killed more than a dozen experts of the Dragon Palace, what if the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace came back for revenge? On the Angel clan's side, all the experts and disciples frowned. Their complexions were similarly ugly. Attack. Don't waste your breath with them. Kill all the people from the Nine Origins universe first, then go and kill the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. At this moment, the cold voices of the Faith universe's gods came from the front. Boom, boom, boom. In the next second, waves of extremely terrifying energy spread out from their bodies. More than 20 million worshippers from the cosmos unleashed a terrifying aura. The weather changed, the sky changed color, and the stars changed color. The immense faith power caused serious expressions to appear on the faces of all of the experts and disciples in the Nine Essences cosmos. The experts of the Faith universe were too strong. The power of the Faith universe is indeed not something we can fight against. An expert from the fairy race muttered. Some of the experts around nodded in agreement. I really wonder how the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace is going to deal with half of the Faith universe's power, a disciple muttered in the back. This was the might of the 21 legions of the Faith universe. Without the protection of the Starry Sky City, just this boundless might alone would be enough to instantly kill them. Prepare the array formation to defend. Ready. Buzz, 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 buzz. At this moment, all the experts of the witch race shouted and activated the array formation. Buzz, 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 buzz. However, just as all the experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe thought that war was about to break out, just as the experts of the Faith universe were about to make their move, suddenly, all the rank 7 gods received a message. All of them received a message. The sudden emergency message stunned all the rank 7 gods of the Faith universe. Without hesitation, they immediately opened their communication devices, because this news was an urgent message from the elders in the palace. Even if war was about to break out, they had to investigate. However, when they opened the message and saw the contents, their eyes widened in disbelief. This is impossible. How is this possible? How is this possible? Immediately, the rank 7 gods roared in shock. They had received an order to retreat, and there was naturally a reason for this order. All the experts who had gone after the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had been killed. All by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the ancient god Kuan Breeder. The ancient god Kuan Breeder and a Kuan were already comparable to the pinnacle gods of the Faith universe. Now, their palace elder had ordered them to retreat. And all the legions were to disperse to prevent the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace from attacking. Looking at the order to disperse and escape, and not be discovered by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. All the rank 7 gods had ugly expressions on their faces. They had just told the experts of the Nine Origins universe that they would destroy the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. But now, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had destroyed the experts of the Faith universe. However, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace already had a pinnacle existence among the gods. It was no longer something they could resist. Once they were discovered by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, they would suffer heavy losses. If the 21 gods of the Dragon Palace were to die here, the Faith universe would not be able to bear such a loss,